On today's menu is something very healthy using whole green moong beans. I will be also sharing an extra bonus recipe, so please be with me till the very end of this video. Namaskar and welcome to Curries with Bumbi. Here is what you need: 1 cup of whole green moong beans, 1/3 of a cup of chana dal. Chana dal is actually split chickpeas, not the chickpeas that we are familiar with, that is not garbanzo beans, but black chickpeas which are commonly known as kala chana in India. Chana dal is often mistaken as yellow split peas, though they look somewhat similar, but they are 2 different lentils. I also like adding 1/4 of a cup of pinto beans to this recipe. You can also use red kidney beans or leave it out altogether. Soak all these overnight in water. They need to be soaked at least for 6 to 8 hours because then they will taste better, will be creamier once they are cooked, and will be good for your stomach as well. Pressure cooker out because that's how I always cook any lentils or beans, but you can also cook them in a pot. The cooking time will be way more than cooking in a pressure cooker though. Always discard the water in which the lentils and beans are soaked. So all of them jump into the pressure cooker along with a teaspoon of turmeric powder, a teaspoon of salt, and 3 cups of hot water, and also a teaspoon of oil to prevent foaming up. Then lid on, allow the pressure to build up on high heat once it comes to full pressure. Then lower the heat to low and pressure cook it for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, switch off heat and allow the pressure to be released naturally. Open the lid once all that pressure is released. As you can see, the lentils and beans have become soft and buttery. Heat a pan on medium-high heat. Add 2 tablespoons of oil. Once the oil turns hot, and by hot I do not mean smoking hot, but you will see it shimmering. A teaspoon of cumin seeds go in. Allow the seeds to splutter and release their flavor. But guys, see to it that they are not turning too dark brown in color, because then they will turn bitter and make your whole curry taste bitter. Chopped onions go in along with a pinch of salt that helps the onions to soften down faster. Fry the onions on medium heat. You do not have to brown them up too much. When they turn little soft and look pale with just a little bit of brown tinge on them, it's time for the next ingredients. Chopped garlic and ginger go in. Fry for about 2 to 3 minutes and then add chopped tomatoes along with chopped green chilies. Green chilies are totally optional, so please leave them out if you don't want your curry to be chili hot. Okay, stir the tomatoes just for about 3 to 4 seconds, not more than that, and then add the spices. Half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, a teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder. Whenever it comes to any chili powder, please add less to start with if you are not used to that chili heat. You can always add more at the end if you feel like, but once added, you cannot ever take out that heat. I also added 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, a teaspoon of ground cumin, and a teaspoon of my homemade garam masala powder. Fry the spices along with the tomatoes. This is why I told you not to fry the tomatoes too much in the beginning. The moisture from the tomatoes will mix with the spices and prevent the spices from burning, and the tomatoes will in turn get more flavorful being fried with those spices. A curry is all about building up those flavors layer by layer with a lot of patience. See how the tomatoes have become mushy now? That is exactly what we are looking for. Next comes a teaspoon of kasuri methi, that is dried fenugreek leaves. Guys, there is no substitute for dried fenugreek leaves, and fenugreek seed powder cannot be used as a substitute. If you do not have kasuri methi in your pantry, just leave it out. Your curry will still be delicious, but please do add it next time if you can get hold of some. Next, the beans and lentils tumble down. I like to mash up a little portion. Do not mash all of them happily because then everything will look and taste horrible. We are not making a pishy pashed up and mashed up bean curry. That little bit of mashing will give a nice consistency to the dish. Then I added salt. Now for me this looks quite thick, and it's true that lentils and beans thicken up more after cooling down. So I added another cup of water to loosen up everything. But here I want to leave things up to you. If you want it to be soupy, add more water. If you want it to be really thick and pasty, then add less than a cup. Guys, the consistency of any gravy is all in your hands and according to your preference. Now cover it on medium-low heat for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, lid off and do a taste test. If you feel it needs more salt, add little salt. If you feel it needs more heat, add more chili powder, though this recipe will call for more chili powder at the end. If you feel it to be very sour, add a pinch of sugar to balance the flavors. And that pinch of sugar is not for making your dish taste like a dessert, but to bring in a balance. Finally, some chopped coriander leaves go in and heat off. But I am not done yet, because what is dal tadka without a tadka? Heat a small pan on medium-low heat, a drop of oil, and then butter. You can also use ghee. Before the butter gets hot, add sliced garlic. The garlic needs to get fried gradually as the oil is heating up. Stir them continuously until you see the edges of garlic taking this light brown color. As soon as you see that color showing up, do not wait for that color to darken anymore. Immediately heat off and add 1/4 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder. Guys, remember, whenever you need to add chili powder to hot oil, you should do that off heat, with your pan completely taken away from the stove, or else the chili powder will burn. And that garlicky tadka lifts up the flavors so much. Okay, here comes another bonus recipe. Heat a pan with about 2 teaspoons of oil. You can also use butter, but I dare not bring in butter again on the screen, as it may be too much for some to bear. Okay, add some of that cooked bean curry and then add an egg to it. Do this separately for each serving. Mix the egg continuously to get a creamy texture. You can do this with the leftovers as well. It tastes very good on toast. I don't know whether you will like it with egg in this way or not, but I wanted to show this method as well. Please do try this recipe and send me your feedback. And please consider clicking on that like button for me. Bye bye.